Hello. Hi, everyone. I'm Moxy Brown, and this is Sexploration, Solo Play and Beyond. This is a workshop for Masturbation May. This is part 2 of a workshop, but if you did not see my first workshop, do not fear. It's fine. That first one was just about how to shop for sex toys. This one is going to be more methods to masturbate, to get the most out of your solo play and discover new sensations, and then how to bring that into your partnered experiences. So a bit about me, my pronouns are she, they, and I am a mixed media artist and a sex educator, sex toy enthusiast. If there's anything I know, it's sex toys. I feel like my goal in life is to know so much about sex toys and try so many different things so I can pass that information on to people and share that, because it can be kind of overwhelming. So yeah, that's something I know. I've been with Pleasure Chest for about 7 years, and in that time I've gotten to meet a lot of folks and help them find sex toys. So that is what I'm passionate about. Pleasure Chest, let's talk about Pleasure Chest. We are probably one of the oldest adult retail companies in the US. We started in 1971, and we really come from a pleasure-based education framework. So we believe that the sex education that you probably received, if you received any in your formative years, probably didn't cover pleasure or that it feels good. It was probably kind of shaming and just very clinical. So we really come from the standpoint of we want to educate you about pleasure, and we want to make this accessible to everyone, so it is inclusive. This is a class for all bodies. And yeah, I'm seeing, where are people coming from? Where are you joining? Chicago, I see a couple of Chicagos. What's up? What's up, Chicago? That is where I currently am. ATL, what's up, ATL? Yes. Yeah, so very clinical. Yeah, like our sex education probably didn't serve us that we got in our formative years. So this is why we do what we do. I'm gonna grab my notes. I do have notes. I'm an air sign, so if I don't have some sort of structure, it will go off the rails. I will talk forever. So if you see me looking down, I'm just looking at my notes. I want to thank Love Honey Group, who is our sponsor for this workshop. And Love Honey Group, Love Honey started about 20 years ago. It's an e-commerce adult retail business. And they started because they saw that there was a need in the market for a approachable, comfortable, friendly place to buy sex toys for. Mainly they were targeting couples. And at the time, there weren't as many options. And now where we are 20 years later, it's a completely different story. But yeah, so they've received awards for just being a really solid company, and they've expanded. WowTech, who is formed in 2018, that is Womanizer and WeVibe. They came together, and those are two like very innovative companies. You may have heard of them. The air pulsating toys that you see today that started with Womanizers, and they formed in 2018, and now it is WowTech and Love Honey for Love Honey Group, and it's very exciting. I'm so happy that they support pleasure-based sex education, and we are happy to have them as a sponsor. I want to mention also that WowTech is having a sale. On our website, if you visit our website, there are WildTech products for buy one, get one 50% off. So you should really check that out. I'm a firm believer in getting a good discount and being able to try these things at a discounted price. So yeah. I want to encourage everyone, like you're doing, talk to me if you have any questions, if you have any comments. I have some stuff prepared, but I really want to make this an opportunity for y'all to ask me questions or just kind of what you're thinking. Because again, the sex education we got in our formative years, it wasn't like this. So I'm here, and ask me questions, talk to me, let me know what you want to know. My goal for this class is that at the end of it, you have learned some new ways to go about masturbating, as well as what you take from your solo play to your partnered situations, so that you are experiencing different kinds of orgasms, or at least going in that direction, because working in adult retail, a lot of things we hear is that people want something new. I want something new. I want to feel something new. So hopefully at the end of this, you will have learned something that you can try. It is Masturbation May. As I said, it's one of my favorite months. I like it because it reminds me to kind of bring things back inside and check in with myself and enjoy myself, and put pleasure, that pleasure that I have agency over first, right? Mindful masturbation is the practice of sexually self-pleasuring while maintaining awareness of your body and like how you respond to stimuli, rather than masturbating on autopilot. So if you joined me for my last class, or if you saw my blog or anything like that, there basically, I believe there's two ways that we masturbate, two methods. One is the shortcut, and that is the one that I think most of us, most of the time that we masturbate, this the shortcut is, I'm horny, I'm gonna do something about it, and then I wanna get to climax. And then, you know, it's a very like level thing, like you can expect your orgasm at the end of it. And that's fine. That is completely fine. I always say orgasms, when they happen, it's like having, you know, cake. It's like, it's something that we want. It's a nice treat. For some of us, it is super necessary to start your day, or to end your day, or to, you know, have an outlet for these desires and this, you know, the sexual thoughts that you have throughout the day. So that's the shortcut. The second way is the scenic route. And when we talk mindful masturbation, this is the area that we want to be in. So, you know, when you travel and you decide not to take the shortcut, but you decide to take the scenic route, it is, you know, it's gonna, that trip is gonna be longer, but you are gonna revel in the things that you'll notice, because now you've decided, I'm gonna take all this time. You're gonna notice new things, possibly. You might notice some things you don't like. You might be able to just take it all in because you're taking the scenic route. And that's where we wanna focus for kind of taking your orgasms to the next level, is the scenic route. The scenic route implies that the goal is not necessarily to orgasm, or it's not to orgasm as quickly as possible, as the shortcut is, you know, let's get in and get out, because, you know, that's the time we have. The scenic route implies I'm here for the trip. And when I get to the destination, I expect that's going to be great too, but the trip should be also really good, something that I can enjoy. Oh, just got a dirty text. Don't press with the scenic route. You don't want to pressure yourself. You don't want to put these ideas in your head, like, I have to come. And it's difficult. We'll talk about the arousal cycle, but at a certain point, everything your body is going to be saying, it's time to come now. You have to climax, you have to. The thing about the scenic route is that it'll take a little longer to get to that point, and you'll also delay that point a little bit, because there can be a more intense result from that. I want to talk a little bit about breathing before we get into how to explore your orgasms, or how to explore touching yourself in different ways. Breathing is, I mean, we wouldn't be alive if we weren't breathing. And saying that is like, it's automatic. It's something that we do without thinking about it, so we don't pay attention to our breathing. Breathing is one of the things that in sex, that's like, it may not be a thing you're thinking about. When you go through the arousal cycles, you may not notice that your breathing does change. You also may not notice that if you aren't breathing, like, things become tense, or it's hard to relax. And sometimes, even though we are turned on and we have decided to do something about it, doesn't mean that it's easy to do something about it. You might be stressed out, you might be not feeling like in your body. So breathing is a good way to like bring that back, or to really break things down to something super simple. For breathing, just first, if you're going to masturbate and you're taking that scenic route, it's great to, as you're working up arousal, to pay attention to how you're breathing and how that changes as you get more and more turned on. Or even if you're not turned on, if you're feeling tension in your body, to isolate that tension and like try to think about breathing air into where you're feeling tense, or taking a moment to deep breathe and think about where that breath is traveling from, thinking about your lungs, thinking about your diaphragm that supports that breathing, that it's coming up through your chest, through your throat, and out your mouth and your lips. And deep breathing, which is, taking the time to intentionally breathe in as slowly as you can, breathe out as slowly as you can. And if you're feeling like doing that right now, that's a great thing to do. A very simple breathing exercise is you can breathe out for, let's say 4 counts, or breathe in for 4 counts and then breathe out for 4 counts. And this even breathing just is something simple to focus you and really slow down your body, because it's hard to come from the outside world and then just be like, I'm going to get down and I'm going to take the scenic route. It really, that transition may not happen that way. So breathing in very intentionally and getting your diaphragm involved, getting in like the whole body breathing, breathing in through your mouth and then out through your nose, and then breathing in through your nose and out through your mouth. And this is just focusing your attention like in, bringing it back into your body, embodying, what it is you're setting yourself up to do. And then even like me talking about breathing, it's slowing down how I'm talking. So definitely tap into how you're breathing and notice, like, when you're masturbating, this is mindful masturbating, like how your breathing changes through these arousal cycles. So how do we explore new ways of getting in touch with ourselves and touching ourselves? The first thing that, besides breathing, that I can recommend is position. So the idea of taking the scenic route is that you're doing the opposite of what you would do, so that it's not like, I'm just trying to get there. I'm doing something different on purpose. So with masturbation, you're going to have to change up your game plan a little bit, So if you're someone that lays down to masturbate, you might consider sitting up. You might consider standing up if you can. If you're someone who you might be a shower masturbator, you masturbate in the shower in the morning to, get your day started because, hey, what's up? You might try to bring that down to a horizontal level or just, sitting down, but like changing up what you usually do. Will your body, when you're aroused, will respond differently, and it might feel weird and it might take some time. But this is a practice. So like mindful masturbation is a practice. And it doesn't mean that you're going to just do it and you're going to be coming out of your brain and you're just going to be, wow. It's going to take some time. For the scenic route, it's important to understand that you don't want to go for the genitals first. The genitals is like, the destination is orgasm, and we know that the mode of transportation would be genitals for most of us. So what you want to do is kind of back off of that and discover other feel-good spots in your body or erogenous zones. And this can be different from person to person. Our erogenous zones can be just as varied as we are in terms of like what we need to feel good. But for the most part, we share a lot of like common erogenous zones. So it's things like nipples. So if you're getting turned on, that you're not going to the genitals, that you might like take some time to caress your skin and really pay attention to your nipples. Some people are very sensitive to that, especially when you're aroused. The inner thighs, the thighs in general, like working that energy away from genitals and like kind of in that same area, because our body works in concert to produce orgasms. So it's not just like hyper focus on genitals, it's what's around, what am I feeling in my skin? When you're aroused, your skin is like super receptive to stimulus, and it feels different. So you want to take advantage of that and kind of move that like arousal energy around your body and explore different places. If y'all have any other erogenous zones you want to share, I say nipples because that's like one of my favorite. That's the second thing I think of when I'm like, well, not genitals because we're not doing shortcuts. So where are we going to go? So feel free to share some other ones, but inner thighs, as I said, wrists, specifically like inner wrists, the neck can be very sensitive, neck and ears, yes, ears, lips. What else do I have here? Your ass cheeks. Again, in the area of where your genitals would be, your ass. Yeah. Inside of elbows and knees, that's a good one. I know for me, if I just touch the inside of my elbow right now, it's not going to feel like anything, but when I'm aroused, it's a totally different story. So this is the idea of like trying to touch yourself in different ways when you are already aroused. But that's a really good one. Thank you. I'm talking about the arousal cycle, and we're going to break that down right now because, well, first, what I want to say about the arousal cycle is that this is as much science is. We're talking theoretically. We're also talking like we understand that bodies are different, and we understand that it may not work this way all the time. And now in current day, there are some researchers and sex educators who say that the arousal cycle that has been established decades and decades ago, it's kind of too simple and it doesn't cover everything. But for the purpose of this workshop, because I have an hour with y'all, we're gonna focus on these. It's 4 stages. The first stage being excitement. So in the excitement stage, something has made you excited, whether it is something sexy you thought of, something you saw, some way that you were touched, something has alerted you to, hey, perhaps I could get off. In this stage, you will have increased breathing. Your breathing will quicken a little bit, or become like, even when you're breathing and it might become a little deeper or more shallow. You might be having shorter breaths. Your heart rate, you might be able to feel your heart rate increasing. There's blood flow happening, elevated blood pressure. So these are things that work together to make you aroused, basically. Your skin becomes hypersensitive, as I mentioned before. So if we're talking about like touching the inside of your elbows and the back of your knees, when you're aroused and you touch those parts, that's going to feel different. And then you'll be like, oh, I'm I'm aroused. Like that, this is feeling so much different than, you know, when I'm just chilling and sitting here. Also part of the, like, your skin sensitivity is something we call sex flush or skin flush, where there's just a lot of blood flow happening, and that blood is like is trying to run toward erogenous zones, but your skin just becomes like it feels kind of electrified. This is the stage where, when we're talking scenic route, we want to hang out in this stage a little longer, because if you're doing the shortcut, this is the stage that you may not spend as much time in, because your brain is already telling you like you're turned on and these physiological changes are happening. And now you know the goal is to get off. But what you want to do is mindfully try to stay in this stage a bit more. So you're starting to be aroused and you are exploring your skin, you are exploring different erogenous zones, you are possibly incorporating a toy or something new. You may even be trying to work out different positions. This is the time to do it, because when you move to the next phase, which is plateau, that is when your muscles start getting involved. Your muscles will start tensing up or start telling you like, you really got to let this out. We really got to climax. We're getting to that point. And so at that point, if you've ever experienced like the frustration of like, I'm not speaking for myself. I am speaking for myself, but I think we've all been here, where you are in the process of trying to get off, and you get to a point where there's no return now. This is the commitment. That's the plateau phase. So your heart rate will increase more. The blood flow is going. Your breathing is getting more increased. You might even be able to hear yourself breathing if you really tap into it, if you're really being mindful about it. Your muscles will now start bringing things in to like, we're trying to like get you to orgasm. And at this phase, it's harder to fight. It's hard, and I say fight, you know, not like thinking about like fighting like Mortal Kombat or something, but like it's harder to kind of back down from that. But what I challenge you to do, if you're looking for ways to orgasm differently or have more intense orgasms, is to play around in that stage too. Try to stay in that when you notice like, now my goal is to just get off, is to kind of back it down a little bit. So that might mean whatever you're doing, you might need to stop doing that and try something else. Mortal Kombat sex. Yes. Whatever you're doing, you might need to like back down and take a moment. Also refocus on that breathing. And that might have you going back to the phase before. You might start your physiological changes might like start slowing down and you're back at where you were in the excitement phase. Or you might even lose it altogether, but you can, again, we're taking the scenic route. So you're taking the time that it needs. You are able to say like, okay, I got to this point and now let's back it down. Once, and I'm not suggesting that this is easy. I will say that this might be a challenge for a lot, and it's a challenge for me. So it is, again, it's a practice. But once you have determined that you are you're going to the next stage, you have to climax. That's when we lock in on the thing that we're doing. We're locking in on it. We're going to do that thing until we get off. I find that returning to focusing on the breath is always helpful to keep things going longer. Yes, absolutely. With sex, with anything, when I'm feeling overwhelmed in life, from talking to someone or anything, if I can focus on my breathing, it changes the game. But especially for this, if you can bring it back a little bit and think about your breathing, it will help you go longer. I want to say, because it's funny, like we hear, you know, oh, we fucked all night. Or you think about like, I want to fuck all night, I want to fuck all day, and I want to like keep going and going. The way that the arousal cycle works and the way that our bodies work is doesn't suggest that all night can happen. What's happening if you're doing something all night is that you're taking breaks, that you're backing off. Once you get to a level of excitement, you're backing off a little bit. You're doing something else. You're focusing on another part of the body because you're trying to draw this out. You want to savor it. And then you want to savor it and you want to, you know, get a little more energy going so that when you get to climax finally, the hope is that this is going to feel different than how I usually do it with the shortcut. So basically edging, I was literally about to go there. Y'all are smart, like, I love it. So basically edging, that is what it is. I think that dry throat. I think with edging, as a kinky person myself, sometimes edging, the focus of edging is not necessarily to climax at all. That there may be some, especially if you're playing with someone else, there may be some like power dynamics going on where you don't get to climax. What you can take from edging is, yes, this idea of like getting to a point where you feel so excited that you're going to climax and you're bringing it back down and you're sort of teasing that. That's how you fuck all night. That's how you, you know, you keep doing it. I like to tell people, especially when I'm helping folks in the store and trying to sell lube or anything like that, that if the things that we see amazing porn performers do, there's breathing going on, there's lube, there's turn the camera off so everybody can hydrate, there's taking a break and then working it back up again. So there's no like straight through thing, because if you're going to go straight through, you're going to climax and then your body is going to be in a place where, well, I've climaxed and now I have to, I guess, quote unquote, recover from that, is come back down, bring yourself back down to homeostasis. So edging, look into it, do it. It's sexy. You can do it by yourself. It's a fun thing to do solo and also to bring into your partner dynamics. So thank you. Yeah, and the climax stage, that's where everything reaches its like the fullest height you're going to get. Your breathing, your heart rate, your blood pressure, your skin sensitivity. There might be ejaculation. It's going to be the most pleasurable part for many people. Sometimes though, for some people, climaxing might be a bit too intense, but this is the biggest action that will happen. And right afterwards, very soon afterwards, your body will be like, now it's time to come back down. And that's the resolution phase, or refractory. I like resolution because I was an English major, and this arousal cycle follows the story cycle really well, where you have like a starting action and you have some rising action, and then you get to climax and you come down and you have that resolution. It's a cycle. And it's after climax, after you're in the resolution phase, your body really just wants to chill generally. And everything physiologically is going to tell you to stop touching yourself, to stop doing what's happening. Your heart rate, your blood pressure, everything is going to decrease. It's going to start decreasing pretty quickly. Where we get into the territory of like blended orgasms, or like not blended orgasms, but like serial orgasms, where we talk about like wanting to climax again very soon. We know from the experience of climaxing and then what it feels like afterwards, that can be a challenge, especially for folks in testosterone based bodies. It can be very difficult to climax again very quickly, but it's a cycle. So however much time you need to take to calm down, it really is the mindset. It really is what's going on. What's the goal for this masturbation session? What's the goal for, even if you're with someone else, that the pressure is not put on performing, where it's like you have to climax again, because just the way our bodies work, just the way our physiology works, it's going to be a little more difficult to do that after climax. So how do you get back into that cycle? You let your body rest, or you, again, if you think about arousal as an energy, if you can like try to visualize it, you are moving this out. You may not be touching yourself, but you're like trying to stay in a mindset where you can stay prepared to be turned on again. For folks that are lucky enough to be able to go again, and sometimes it's, you may not even know, you may not even be able to tell, like, I'm about to climax again, it just happens. For those of us that want to get into a practice of like making that pathway easier, it's the practice of kind of pushing through that resolution phase. And for a lot of us, that can kind of hurt. And it can hurt in a good way, or it can hurt in a way that's like, I don't want to do this anymore. So if it hurts in a way that you don't want to do this anymore, then don't do it anymore. Again, this is especially important that this is self-pleasure. This is pleasure. It should feel good. And any of these rules I'm giving you about this, you're trying to do what feels good. And that's going to look different from person to person. This is just a suggestion of a framework to kind of set up steps, to set up like some sort of pathway, because we train our bodies how to get off. That is the whole purpose of the shortcut, where you're doing the surefire things. This is a sure thing. I know that if I do this, or that if I watch this porn, or if I play with this certain toy, or if I'm in this certain position for long enough, I'm going to get off. So the scenic route is the unknown. And so you don't really know how it's going to affect you until you get there. But the idea is that in your head, that you've set up, like, I just want to see where this can take me. That was serial orgasms, because I think we confuse. When I hear multi-orgasms, I think blended orgasms. I think orgasms that come from many different erogenous zones of your body. When people say they want to come and come and come and come again, that's a serial orgasm. And that is something that will take a bit more time and a bit more practice, but it's not impossible. So blended orgasms, as I said, this is you incorporating, we talked about not just focusing on the genitals. Let's talk about incorporating different erogenous zones, like so stimulating different sensitive parts. So whether it's if you have a vulva and your internal G-spot and your external clitoris, you have a toy that's like hidden both those things, or you're stimulating yourself that way. Or if you have a penis, if it's external, or like a good anal toy as well, or nipples and genitals, just not just focusing on one zone, as we know that our body works in concert. So those orgasms tend to feel different, and they can feel more intense, especially if you're used to just zeroing in on like just one way or just one area of your body. So that's a blended orgasm. And I mentioned toys, and luckily there are toys created to kind of stimulate two places at once, and we'll get there in a little bit. I want to first see if there's any questions. Okay. Oh, there is a question. Look at the timing on that. So this is a question from a follower on Instagram. Does mindful masturbation mean strictly without porn? How can you incorporate porn but still use mindfulness? That's a really good question. I think mindful masturbation means whatever you do, whatever you need to do to get out of that autopilot. So if you're used to using porn to get off, it is taking a second to realize this is, this is something that's a part of my masturbation routine, is that I'm not exempt from this either, is that I know when I want to get off. I know that we are visual and audio responsive folks. And so, using porn and viewing porn while you masturbate is just a common thing for a lot of folks. What I mentioned earlier was like doing something different is mindful masturbation. So how you're masturbating already, that is like, your masturbation for like, I'm doing this and I want to be as efficient as possible to get off. You can use it. I think that if you currently view porn while you masturbate, try to do it. Try to like get yourself started with porn and maybe like turn it off, or leave your phone. I'm someone who the phone is in one hand and the toy is in the other. But try to put that down and check in with your body, because it's not like you're going to go from masturbating with porn to not at all and having mind-blowing, maybe, but again, it's a journey, it's a practice. So just try to change it up a little bit. So that might mean not viewing porn, or viewing porn to get you in that, like those first couple stages, and then you're putting that down and you're really trying to focus or trying to bring yourself back down and like edging yourself. But I know that people see this differently with porn. And also with toys, I hear that too, that like, oh, you can't truly be like mindful with a toy. And I don't believe that. And I'm biased, obviously, but it is really just about changing your habits, because we do train our bodies how to get off. So we're trying to show it a different way to get different results, if that makes sense. But thank you. That was a really good question. Okay, I feel like we can talk about partnered play now. We're talking about moving from getting through the arousal stages. So excitement, plateau, climax, resolution, and you throwing in different things to change that up. And just really taking your time and also checking in on your breathing, and also trying to form some sort of language around it, maybe, how things feel and how things don't feel good to you. That is something really easy to do on your own. So that's really good. You can look at masturbation as a research phase. I don't like to just think about it like that. I think sometimes masturbation is it's the bee's knees. It's like what's going to happen, but it is a really good way to start knowing your responses to different stimuli. So again, this is a practice. So this is something is not one and done. You're going to be practicing this. You're going to try to do the scenic route as much as you can. You're also not going to beat yourself up when you can't. Again, an orgasm is great, whether you get there to the shortcut or the scenic route. You're developing the language around it, how things feel. And you're not just, when you get with your partner, obviously self-touch can feel different than someone else touching you, that you've already started thinking about how do I put this into words, but you're also focusing not so much on this is not working, ow, I hate this, stop, but more yes, that's important, but more what is working, what does feel good. Oh, well, I like this thing that you're doing. I like when you stimulate my nipples. I like when this happens. And however you need to say that in a sexy way, because I think there's this idea that talk is not okay when you're having sex, unless it's super dirty, but we need to communicate important things so that we're feeling okay. So just focusing on the things that are going wrong without then turn around and saying oh, I do like this. This is working. Yes, this is confirmation. This is affirmation. This is going well. I'm a huge advocate of mutual masturbation. So that next step is you're masturbating. We know how to touch ourselves. Most of us know how to touch ourselves. And it's a very important thing to share that with someone else. So watch how your partner touches themselves. Watch how they stimulate, and the pressure they use. So where are they touching? How fast are they going? Throughout the arousal cycles, now that you know about that, oh, does it get more vigorous? Is it getting more vigorous? And now I can tell they're in a different place. So their skin's gonna feel different. It really is now taking that mindfulness that you have for yourself and trying to join that with a partner. So noticing their breathing. Can you see their pulse going? And you see a heart rate, where they are in the different arousal stages. Says you're right. I wasn't taught how to communicate properly during partnered sex. I've been trying to be better, but I still feel super awkward, and I still do too. And this is my job. So I will say that is just the effort in trying to figure out how to communicate. Language is fluid as fuck. Language is different, and we all respond differently to it. So that's why I suggested when you're masturbating for yourself, just trying to figure out what language works for you and how you can best communicate it, but also knowing that someone else is going to communicate that differently. It's Yes, someone says it helps to just be blunt and honest, friends. Yeah, I think that if your intention is to, you both want to feel good, or whoever you're playing with, all of you want to feel good. The intention is not necessarily to scold or like shut someone down, because someone may not know how to touch your body in the moment. Also, we might not even know that. So it's, our bodies change, like certain stimuli might not feel the same way. But it is important, like you said, just to be honest and, finding ways to incorporate that into, people are like, oh, I don't want to take away from the moment. You don't have to take away from the moment if you can. We talked about breath earlier. Saying something with breathing and breathier, making it sexy, figuring out how to, like, oh, I like this, why don't you go back to that? Or, hey, I'm not feeling that. Or, yeah, like that's not doing it, but let's try something else. It is important to be honest, because what happens when we're not honest is then we are trying to, I guess, push through something that may not be serving us, or it may not be pleasurable to us. And it's okay if, you feel something, you're like, that's not right. It's important to say, can we try something else? Or why don't we do this? Why don't we change positions? Why don't we try this toy? And kind of just bring it away from like a corrective or like scolding or discipline. Now, as a kinky person, like to me, that sounds hot, but that's not everybody's cup of tea. So it really is just also being mindful of how we're communicating to our partners. I do want to talk toys, because I think that toys are important in partnered situations, because it will take us out of ourselves and then say, hey, I have this tool, and now we're focusing on this tool and we're trying to see what we can do with this tool. I feel like sometimes toys can take the pressure off. That is, if you're not coming from a mindset of like, these toys are here to replace me. There's no toy that's like, these are inanimate objects. They're tools, they're to help us kind of feel like we want to do, like feel different stimulation and orgasm differently. So I always say that almost any toy can be used as a couple's toy, can be used in a couple dynamic, or when you're playing with other people. Now, there are toys that are designed as couples toys. And generally, if you come into the shop, we will point you to toys that are either like grouped in sets where there's a toy for 2 different people, or there's a toy that does many different things, or it has a Bluetooth capability or a remote. And what I have, because I want to talk about some of WeVibe's toy. This is the sink. This is actually the original sink, because I don't have the newer sink, but this is one of my favorite couples toys. Let me show you here. It has a hinge. WeVibe kind of revolutionized the C-shaped toy. This is a C-shaped toy. And it works that if you have a vulva, this goes inside internally, this sits outside. This is my hand vulva here. And it sits outside on the pubic bone, and it hits the clitoris. And this inside can give you some G-spot stimulation, or just at least some internal stimulation. There's 2 motors here, and it vibrates. There's a remote, there's an app. So this is what we think of when we think couples toys. There's something that someone else can interact with as well. So a remote is a really good way to do that. And I like to think of, when I'm buying toys for myself, how I can get the most use out of it. So this is something I can use solo. I can use this just as a vibrator. I'm very much external. stimulation. I'm very much clitoris, like that's, if I'm taking the shortcut, that's where I know where to go. So this is a great just vibrator in general, and it has, the 2 motors. But this can be worn during intercourse, and you can be penetrated. So if you have a vulva and your partner has a penis, you both can share that vibration. I also like this for just around the body. It's just a really good, it's a good toy to share. It's silicone, it's non-porous. That's what you want to look for when you're buying toys for couples, or like when you're buying a toy that you possibly will share with someone, is something that is non-porous. I also want to show you, here's my penis. It's turquoise. That vibration, I think sometimes we gender vibration in weird ways, that I would hope after you leave this class that you look at toys and you look at different ways that you can use it on anybody, that they can be used in many different ways, because these toys ain't cheap, number one. So get your bang for your buck, but get creative. You're doing something different, as I mentioned before. So this can be a great toy to stroke with as well. You can stimulate the balls. You can do here at the frenulum, the very sensitive part of the penis. So I really like this. This is the sink. They're on the sink too now. So WeVibe has really just been really revolutionary about like these C-shaped toys. I would also say that any vibrating like internal toy, like, or toys that are designed for like vaginal penetration, to consider these toys as well as like external toys. This one is the Rave by WeVibe, and it has a very super unique shape because it is designed for internally. It has a very stiff head here, which is great for urethral sponge stimulation, or like sort of prostate tissue. So the G-spot, that covers the G-spot as well as the prostate. So this is a toy that's long enough. You can, if you want to, you can put this in a butt if your partner has a prostate, or like tease outside. It's silicone, you can clean it. But I like just a simple internal toy. I'm not one for internal vibration all the time, but this is really great too, because you can use it externally, you can use it all over the body. But I just want to impress upon you to start looking at toys in like just different ways, because sometimes the packaging might not speak to us, or just like how it's marketed, but really get down to like, what is this doing? It's vibration, and all of our bodies can respond to vibration. So just try to figure out, different ways. So yeah, I have like a little less than 10 minutes, and I really want to talk about lube, because I think that lube is very important in solo dynamics as well as partner dynamics, because when we talk about, like I said, like fucking all night, or if you're, watching a porn and you don't get to see that off screen, there's lube, there's hydration happening, or hydrating the body. I have 2 of my favorite lubes right now, and it changes because I'm lucky enough to have access to lube. But for my silicone, I really like Lanua. This is a really great, like, it just feels like luxury. It feels very sensuous. A little bit goes a long way. I wouldn't use this with any of the toys that I just showed you. It's a silicone lube. You don't want to use that with your silicone toys, but just for intercourse or just for self-touch or massage, this is a really great lube. Sutil, this is actually the Hathor original lube. It's a water-based lube, which is safe with all toys. What I really like about the Sutil brand is that a lot of their lubes have horny goat weed. And that is something, when we're talking blood flow and we're talking about that in all of these arousal stages, the horny goat weed will bring blood flow to where you put it. It'll make blood flow happen quicker. So let's say you are in the excitement phase, or you're like, I'm going to do something about this, and you just start using this lube. You have more now to work with and back down from if you want to. It's water-based, it's a nice consistency, and I really like that. I encourage you to find a lube, and find more than just a lube, because I have different lubes for different occasions. And there will be different lubes for different occasions, or like just as our bodies change. So get used to lube, because working in the store, sometimes what I hear is when I try to recommend a lube is that someone's like, oh, I don't need lube, I get juicy enough. Like it's, it's not even about that. It's not to suggest that you're lacking or anything. It really does facilitate this scenic route, this like long time play. So think about lube. It is their loss. It is their loss. Yeah, sometimes there's a shame in using lube, and I don't see it. I don't see it because of my experiences, working in a sex toy shop and being a sex educator. But let's get over that. Let's start incorporating lube, because it can really make the difference between like a comfortable experience and like an uncomfortable experience. Really, that's my fave brand on trans auntie. Yes, like I think maybe you're talking about the Sutil. I really like the horny goat weed. I really just like how this feels. Sliquid as well. Somebody mentioned Sliquid. That's huge. I'll ride for Sliquid, because great lube selections in every category that you can think of. Flavored, water-based, silicone, all of the stuff. Yeah, I am nearing the end, and we do have a giveaway. If y'all still have questions and comments, you still like, please talk to me. But yeah, we have a giveaway, and we're giving away something really great, something I talked about. So yeah, I don't know how we're doing this. You have to answer a question though. You have to answer the question. And the question is, what are the 4 stages of arousal? And as they all start to type that, I do see there's more questions, so I'll answer that. So, I think we have our first person. Anahi Sanchez, I think, was our first person. I'm just waiting for somebody to confirm that, but yes, that's what I see. Anahi, I hope I'm pronouncing that right. You're getting a Sync 2, not the Sync I have. This is the original Sync. So the Sync 2 is the upgraded one. So yes. Congratulations. This is a really great multi-purpose vibrator, so I really hope you enjoy it. And yeah, you can coordinate with our team here to get that to you. And yeah, also for those of y'all that want to learn more about toys, or more about like these We Vibe toys, I do have, I can rave about it all the time. But we are having a sale on our website, so you can buy one, get one half off. And then when we're talking about partnered situations, it's great. Like, you can have a toy, your partner can have a toy. So check out our website. There will be also, for attending this workshop, you will get a discount code. The discount code will be sent to you, and that will be good for any purchases online. Or you can message us on Instagram, Anahi, for the giveaway. And yes, the code is Sexpiration for 15% off site-wide, and that code is until Saturday, the 27th. So you have a little bit of time there. I want to go just and see if y'all have been actually really great too. This has been a lot of fun. I love doing these, and just being able to talk about sex and pleasure. What was the first lube you recommended? This is Lanua. Lanua, it's backwards, I know. And this is a silicone lube. This is what I'm using currently for silicone. And Lanua is under the FemFun brand. And I've had this bottle for a while, and it's a little bit goes a long way. It's a really luxurious feeling. So that is Lanua, L-A-N-U-A. Someone says, I'm looking into becoming a sex educator, and just listening to you makes me super inspired. Oh, thank you. Like, we need sex educators all the time. Let's yes, please, pleasure-based sex educators. We know we don't necessarily live in a sex positive world. So I love hearing that. I love hearing that this encouraged you. Thank you so much. And yeah, I think that is my time. You can find me on Instagram if you have any other questions, or you want to, bounce some ideas back and forth. I'm at Portals for Mortals. Portals, the number 4 mortals. That will also be in your newsletter on Instagram. So we can talk about art, painting, or sex, or the scenic route. So thank you, everybody. I hope you are encouraged to go try something new and to mindfully masturbate. I'm Moxy Brown. Thank you so much. Happy masturbating.